It's Cabinet of Wonders time, people. So today we are going to be reading chapter 12 The Clearing in the Forest. Clearly, some sort of explanation had to be given. Astrophil was oblivious to the problem he had just caused. His legs continued to wave in the air as he dreamed spidery dreams. Neil reached out to touch one of Astrophil's legs with his ghost fingers. What do you mean he's sleeping? Looks more like he's dancing to me. Sadie looked up at Petra. Well, will you tell us what he is, or would you prefer to keep your secrets? Somehow, the fact that Sadie was offering Petra the chance to put Astrophil in her pocket and not say another word made Petra want to tell them everything. But a stable boy was already looking in their direction with far too much curiosity. Not here, Petra said. Can we go somewhere place more private? Neil spoke to Sadie in Romany. She nodded. Join us for a midday meal, Petra, if you like. This is my day off. Neil came to walk home with me. These days we live on the other side of this large hill down in the forest. There we can talk openly about your silver spider and finding work for you. Come meet our family, if, of course, for the first time she looked awkward, you want to. Petra tucked Astrophil into her pocket. Let's go. The forest on the other side of the hill was thick and had provided many generations of Bohemian princes with good hunting. Petra saw several deer as they walked among the trees. Acorns crunched beneath their feet. It didn't seem to Petra that they were following a trail, but Neil and Sadie strode ahead confidently. Soon the smell of burning wood and roasting meat teased Petra. They heard the bell-like sound of the hammer on an anvil. When they reached a clearing in the forest, Petra saw 10 large wagons ringed around a campfire. A dog with fanged teeth ran up to them barking. He licked Neil and Sadie's hands. Petra stood stock still while he sniffed hers. Several children wearing brightly dyed clothes were clustered in a group near the campfire, building a house out of stones, sticks, and tree bark. A woman in a full-skirted orange dress was roasting a haunch of venison on a spit over a fire. She looked at them with surprise and seemed to ask Neil and Sadie a question. The musical ringing stopped, and a muscular man with a short beard and a gold hoop in one ear appeared from behind a wagon. He held the hammer in his lowered left hand. His intense stare swept over Petra. Then, ignoring her and Neil, he turned to Sadie. He was smiling, but something he said made her face pinch with anger. She replied shortly and stalked to the largest wagon. She opened the door and stepped inside, slamming it shut behind her. The man looked at Petra with open hostility. Neil said something to him in a voice that was amused but not nice. The man shrugged as if to say, "It's your problem, then," and sauntered away. They soon heard the ringing of metal on metal, but this time the beats were quicker and louder. What was that all about? Petra asked Neil. Emil ain't happy you're here. I could have figured that on my own. What did he say to Sadie to make her upset? He called her a Ronnie. What does that mean? It means a lady, very high class. That doesn't sound so bad. Yeah, but you use it to mean an outsider. Sadie's father was a Gaji, you see. Normally, there'd be problems with her being fully accepted by any tribe except the Kalderash because they're all mixed up anyway from the start. But our Ma's the leader, so everyone's got to treat Sadie like she's one and the same as a full-blooded Roma. Your mother's the leader of the Lovari? Are you kidding? Look around. There's 39 of us here. Well, not now. Most of us are working in the city. Some are hunting or gathering mushrooms and nuts and berries. 39 isn't the whole Lavari tribe. My ma's just the leader of our group. Why is the meal here then and not off working or hunting or working? You might have noticed the Roma aren't exactly the most popular people around. Some people don't like our color, some people don't like our ways, and some people, well, we've got to have enough warrior types around at all times. Emil isn't the friendliest sort you'll come across, but he's got brains and is good with a sword and a dagger. And he's always had a problem with Sadie, though, and that's a hard thing to figure. You've seen her. She's as sweet as an apple. I can't figure why he doesn't like her. What if, Petra suggested, listening to the hammer and anvil, he likes her too much? Neil stared at her as if she had just hopped on a fast horse bound for the madhouse. He started to speak, stopped, and finally just muttered something in Romany. He looked at the wagon Sadie had disappeared into and said, Sadie's been talking to her ma a long time. Maybe I should have stayed in the city. Oh, don't feel sorry about being here. We wanted you to come. Emil likes to stir up trouble, and my ma and sis got other stuff to talk about than you. He scuffed his foot in the dirt. We're in something of a fix here. What's the matter? Our horses caught some plaguey thing. Most of them died, and we can't move our wagons without horses. So you're stuck here? Like flies in honey, except it might actually be nice to get stuck in honey. Instead, we're in Prague. What's so bad about that? Although Petra thought parts of Prague were stinking and dirty, she was enjoying her first day in the city. After all, one could find delicious pastries, overhear fascinating gossip, and meet interesting people. One, there don't seem to be any ursari in the area, so we can't sway them into loaning us some horses, and we can't afford to buy more from the Gaji. Two, he was ticking off the reasons on his fingers, we should be heading south by now to escape the worst of the winter. This part of Bohemia heaps up snow right quick, and when the roads get blocked as good as a sick kid's nose. Three, we happen to be sitting in the prince's hunting grounds, which isn't exactly law-abiding of us, which means that just about any money we make goes to bribing the prince's gamekeeper not to tell all and sundry that we're here. We pay him to tell the prince that if he wants to shoot deer, they're thick in a part of the forest miles from here. So we're not only so not only so we not only don't have any horses, but it also looks like we won't be buying any anytime soon. Unless some miracle happens, like Usari trooping through Prague when we know they're already heading south towards Spain, you are well and truly trapped. Sadie opened the door to the family wagon. Neil, Petra, Mom wants to talk to you. Neil and Petra walked up the 3 hanging steps to the wagon door. When they were inside, Neil took off his shoes and set them on a straw mat. Petra did the same. The wagon was about the size of a large room. 2 round glassless windows let in light, which flickered over a raised platform covered in bright cloths and silk cushions. Beneath an iron lantern was a woman with a stern face sitting cross-legged. Neil, Sadie, and Petra sat down on the cloths around her. Sadie resembled her mother, but the older woman's face was narrow, her chin pointed, and her dark skin lined. Petra, Sadie began, this is our mother, Damara. She would like to hear whatever you are going to tell us about the spider, if you don't mind. Petra gently took Astrophil out of her shirt pocket. The other 3 leaned closer. Astrophil, she thought. The ticklish sensation in the back of her mind was faint, but it was still there. The spider continued to slumber. Astrophil! His green eyes blinked and stared at Petra. How strange. He didn't seem to notice that he and Petra had company. I was just completing a painting. It was a landscape, and I was using oil paints that were coming out of the tips of my legs, one color for each leg. But where has it gone? It was a masterpiece. Astrophil, you are dreaming. That is absurd. To dream you need to sleep, and I never sleep. By the way, where are we? And how did we get here? And he finally turned around and saw Neil, Sadie, and their mother. What exactly is going on, Petra? Well, we went with Neil to meet Sadie, and then you fell asleep. You fell out of my hair, and they saw you. Then they invited us to come to their home for lunch, and I decided that was a good idea. I'm starting to believe that I have been sleeping, because if I had been conscious, I would have never allowed you to do something so extraordinarily foolish. This is Astrophil, Petra introduced the spider. He was made by my father. And then she took a deep breath and began to tell them why she had come to